How's it going, everyone? Landon here with TBS, coming to you live on site again at another awesome truck stop here in downtown Oklahoma City. Richard, don't laugh. He's like, no, it's not awesome. I'm like, yes, it is. We're in the driver lounge. It's comfortable. You're comfortable. Your pup's comfortable out in the truck. I mean, it's a good thing. And I'm excited to be next to Richard here, who's an independent single owner operator that's been on the road for over 30 years. Richard, if you don't mind, just say hi.
Hello.
I love it. I love it. It's just like, how's it going? But hey, real quick, if this is your first time watching this TBS Live, because we go across the nation, every week we come to you live at 4 o'clock Central on a Thursday. Just real quick, TBS, we are one of the largest single owner operator. That's not true. TBS is a family-owned business, privately owned, and we help fund more owner-operators across the nation than anybody else that's privately owned. Plus, we process more authorities as a privately owned company than anybody else. So if you're a company driver, an owner-operator, maybe you're leased on to somebody, pay attention to this. Maybe even a small fleet owner. Pay attention to this conversation, because we're going to pick up the conversation that we had last week with Norm. Norm was an incredible guy, 30 years on the road as a company driver. But we've got Richard here from the great state of Texas. Don't stop laughing. You're making this hard. But you just got to see the stuff behind the scenes. But in all seriousness, if you're watching this from Texas, if you're watching this from California or Florida, up in the northeastern, as Richard was saying, let us know where you're watching this. We want to make sure you can hear and see this. And also, give a big shout out to Richard for taking the time out of his busy day, because you have nothing else to do. And you've been so kind to give some of your time. And Nikki, our producer, is buying a bunch of stuff. So thankfully, you're a really good negotiator to make this happen, in all seriousness. But Richard, thank you for being a part of this TBS Live. We really appreciate your time, sir.
You're welcome.
So real quick, Richard, if you don't mind, from the great state of Texas, you got an awesome pup out in your truck right now. How did you get into trucking? And you said you tripped into it, but man, you wanted to go in the Air Force, but something happened.
Pretty much. I mean, I was in the military. I got out, and I pretty much, I don't know, I just kind of wound up driving.
Got out of the military and just wound up driving. But you know what was cool is that, and for those who don't know, we're going to continue the conversation that we had with Norm last week, talking ELDs, hours of service. One of those hot topics that everybody loves to talk about, because this is just the most fascinating topic in trucking. And I'm being facetious, but in all seriousness, instead of talking to companies, instead of talking to FMCSA or DOT, no disrespect, we want to talk to people like Richard who are living this mile by mile, if that's fair enough.
Yeah.
And so you're a veteran. You served. You wanted to go into the Air Force, but you jumped into the Army. How did that happen? I mean, be nice about it.
I still haven't figured out how that happened.
Well, everybody give a big shout out to Richard and tell him thank you for his service. Big thank you. It's an honor. It's a big honor, sir. So you went from serving in the military, you got into trucking. You've been in trucking since '86.
Yeah.
Since '86, so 31 plus, 32 plus years. Close to, like you were saying, maybe you haven't even calculated how many miles you have, but you're pushing 4 million if you just do the math.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
That's pretty awesome. So let's just jump right into it, Richard, if you don't mind. With all that's going on, you're an independent, and also you've been leased on. You've done both worlds.
Yeah, I've also done company.
You've done company, so you've got a ton of experience. Let me ask you, when it comes to e-logs, when it comes to hours of service, just the first thing that comes to mind, good thing, bad thing, or just an honest professional opinion. But be clean.
Well, I mean,
we may have kids watching. We don't know.
There are the laws. You really got no choice on it. But they're annoying in one sense because they don't take into account anything like, traffic or delays or whatever. Because basically, once you start, you got 14 hours.
Mm-hmm.
There's 14 hours sitting in a traffic jam or 14 hours driving. It doesn't make,
Right.
You sit in a traffic jam, you use, say, 5-6 hours, and then that's 5-6 hours less you have to drive.
Yes. And that affects
you
your...
have to get there at an X time, you've already just lost half the day.
Which could affect your pay.
Because then you wind up late, and for like a small company where they don't have options of repowering like a big company,
right?
That could affect you because the company's like, okay, well, you're not reliable. You didn't get here in time. This happened too many times, so
right.
You lose business.
That is true. Have you personally experienced that? I mean, and are you having any conversations, or with every stop you make around the nation, what are you hearing on the road when it comes to what others have experienced? Both, because last week when we were talking to Norm, I love the phrase that he said. I mean, it was safe and legal, which in a way, that's the heart behind. Do you agree with that? I mean, can we just can we just have a good panel conversation about that? What do you think?
I mean, okay.
No disrespect to Norm. Norm is an awesome guy, by the way. Check out the last one, but
yeah, but in a sense though, it's just like, take for example the CDL driving test for the state of California.
Mm-hmm.
Just read the questions.
Mm-hmm.
The person who wrote that test, I saw a truck. That's about as far as they know about trucks. So whenever government tells you we're doing this for you, we're making it safer for you, you can well bet it's the opposite.
Do you think that? I mean, do you think their intentions are right? I mean, honestly, because safety. I mean, you got an 80,000-pound rig, and we want to make sure that. But at the same time,
bad apples and everything now.
There's bad apples with an 18-wheeler as well as 4-wheelers, right?
Yeah, there's
the same stuff that you go through, they don't go through.
Yeah,
and this isn't trying to pin it one way or the other, just trying to have some open dialogue.
Yeah, but also too though, it always tickles me when a governor says we're doing this for you, we're doing this for you. It amazes me that whenever they get into Congress or Senate or whatever, outside of it, they're dumb as a damn rock. They get in, all of a sudden they're experts.
That is true. We can't delete that. This is live.
All of a sudden they're experts.
No, absolutely.
But when they weren't in, a rock was smarter than they were. And
so
they're the ones passing the laws and telling us what to do.
So if I can digest what you just said, if I'm Landon, the politician, I can't just trust the data that gets in front of me. I actually need to know a Richard that's doing this. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
and we've got to find a nice balance there.
Yeah, look
to
at
where
these big organizations like American Trucker and what's the other one? ELDS. They each have their own little bias, their own little thing that they want.
They have their filters.
So
they want to
go in there. They're pushing their.
Sure.
Like American Trucker Association, the guy who runs, I can't think of the guy's name, the guy who runs.
It's not important.
Wants to do governors.
Yeah.
Mandatory 65.
Right.
Which, okay, that's great on paper. Get out here in real life and do that.
You're definitely right. I love what you're saying, Richard, because it's one of those things where we can't just look at a sheet of paper and a bunch of data produced by a third party or even some major corporations, some big companies out there that want to make sure the roads are safe. And I really believe, and I think you do too, that all of us want the roads safe.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. You're safe out there. We want to be safe out there. But there has to be a fine balance of trusting data versus connecting with people that, we're looking out the window there. You got just a row of trucks parked out. It'd be nice if they did life with you for a day or a week and really just understood the challenges of it. That'd be a big deal. If, as a single owner operator, someone that's been leased on, if somebody is jumping into ELDs, what would you advise them right now? What would you say as in, hey, make sure you know this before you get in the game, and if you're in the game, make sure you've got this piece of information.
Well, as far as getting into it, if you drive a truck, you have to have it.
Yeah.
Period. So you have no choice.
Sure.
But the biggest thing about it is, is when that thing says you got to stop, you got to stop. So you need to more or less plan ahead. Okay, I can only go this far, and I know I can park here. Because parking's another big issue.
That's a big topic. We talked about with Norm about that.
Yeah,
Parking's a big deal.
That's why I'm seeing more and more. You're seeing a lot of trucks off on the off ramps and this and that park because for whatever reason they got delayed or whatever, they ran out of hours there.
And they had to stop.
I mean, you got no choice. You got
so you're leased on right now. Is it important who you lease with? I mean, and when it comes to this topic, when it comes to safety, when it comes to hours of service, so that you can make the most money, or is it not a big deal? What's your advice there?
Like anything else, every company, there's good companies, there's bad companies. You know, they each got their good points, each got their bad points.
So it's just kind of a personal perspective.
Yeah, I mean,
do your due diligence is what you say.
When I started with these guys before the ELDS and stuff came in, you couldn't get them to repower to save your life.
Right.
They wouldn't repower for nothing.
Got it.
Now the ELDS are in, they had no choice. Now they changed their system around.
Right.
You know, so now they repower.
If you're watching this, I mean, if you can relate to what Richard's saying, and drop some information into the comment thread. We want you to be part of this conversation. I want Richard to be able to, down the road, maybe when we tag you in this post, for you guys just to have a great conversation about what's going on the road. Literally, that's the heart behind these TBS Lives. Like this, share this. Make sure you tag some people in the comment thread about this conversation, because this is just honest conversation. That's the heart behind these last couple weeks and what we're going to do leading up into Matt's. We'll be live on site coming up there in the truck show as well. Richard, I can't thank you enough, man, for your service. Thanks for being an Army vet. Give some love. You got to give some love to Richard. I mean, that's a big deal. Big thank you for that, sir. Thank you for 32 years on the road, and just your input about this important topic, because that's priceless stuff. We don't want to just talk to anybody. We want to talk to people that like yourself that are dealing with it every day. So any last parting words before we jump off here? Like I told you, be short. It wasn't going to be long.
Just take care of your equipment, and your equipment will take care of you.
I think it's some awesome. We got to hashtag that, Nikki. Nikki's giving me some big heads. Yeah, we got to do that. So from all of us here at TBS, on behalf of Richard, myself, everybody at TBS here in Oklahoma City, thank you for watching this. Get a part of the conversation. Share this video. We want to hear from you. We'll see you next week, 4 p.m. Central, next Thursday on the next TBS Live.